This is an absolutely huge warning to anybody that owns an Xbox Series X or S, and Microsoft is letting you know right now that bannings are happening, and this is something that I don't know how to exactly feel about this, but I figure, hey, might as well go ahead and do a video on it. Microsoft is very much upfront about things that they deem allowable and unallowable, and this apparently is something that they are saying is unallowable. Xbox has reportedly started suspending and banning players who run emulators on their Xbox Series X or S in retail mode. It's also outright banning users who upload emulators. According to this, Xbox has reportedly issued temporary suspensions to players who use emulators in their retail mode. Previously, however, users were able to download emulators as applications directly from the Microsoft Store, which would allow them to play retro games and ROMs on any retail Xbox Series console. Microsoft later then disabled the loophole that would let these applications run on the retail mode of the system, though users could still run the applications in developer mode. Now, earlier in the month, a group claimed to have found another way to get emulators running on retail mode and started a Patreon account asking for $2 per person for month access of the new method. Now, it would appear that this didn't actually last very long, as Microsoft has now started cracking down on all retail emulation and those who use it. According to this, someone says who regularly reports on emulation on consoles, Microsoft has started handing out 15-day suspensions to players running emulators on their Xbox Series X and S in actual retail mode. They also cite a Discord server which says it's dedicated to the running of emulators on Xbox consoles. According to this article, which is through VGC, which I will link, of course, in the description below. You guys can just look down below and find the link there. The VGC joined the server to corroborate the claims and found an announcement posted on Thursday from staff member Golden Sky, who specializes in creating retail access to the emulator, informing users that retail mode is dead and that the Discord server itself, the retail mode channel, will be deleted within a week. Effectively, immediately, we are halting any and all retail mode emulation permanently. This channel will be deleted within the week, and this announcement will be moved to the server announcements channel for preservation purposes. So according to this, retail mode on Xbox is dead. 15-day suspensions handed out to users of retail emulators as a warning shot from Microsoft. Devs warning users to delete emulators. Retail mode disbanding and shutting down the Patreon. So yeah, I'm kind of like doing this video as a bit of a service to all of you that maybe do this type of stuff or use emulators and things like that. Now, it's never been my bag. I've never, ever used emulators. They're typically associated with like PCs and stuff like that. I always prefer to have like the real thing when at all possible. So yeah, like I've obviously, I'm such a collector of video games and things like that, so it doesn't surprise me. A lot of these are looked at as, I can see two sides to the argument, however, right? Like if game preservation, like it's well known that we have access to less than 80% of total games released before 2007 or 2010, something like that. So emulators could be a way to preserve games, but also on the other hand, I understand that how developers could look at it as potentially stealing. And, again, it's just one of those things where I'm kind of looking at it and going, well, I can understand both sides of it. Like, I don't use emulators. For the most part, like, there's always been things that I guess maybe I'm a little bit of a goody-goody, quote-unquote, but knowing that we live in a day and age of digital games where a lot of us buy digital, and if you get your account suspended, you lose access to your games. Like, even back in the day, people used to, like with games with gold, a good game would be available in a different time zone or areas code or whatever. So people would go create an account for that or whatever and get those games. And sometimes they would get banned, or people would change their time zone to, be able to launch of the game that much earlier, right? Because obviously we have time zones and things like that. So I've never done any of those things, man. I never would risk losing access to my stuff, and I understand why people do that stuff, and maybe they don't care about losing access to their games or gamer score or whatever, but for me it never made much sense. And like I said, when it comes to games, I would rather own the game and have it perform as it really would originally. So anyway, according to this, a significant amount of users have been receiving 15-day suspensions as a warning shot from Xbox, and they included photos from users as proof. Obviously, they say they strongly recommend removing any and all emulator apps from your console in retail mode immediately. We apologize to anyone who got a 15-day suspension. We know it sucks. They also warn that users who have been re-uploaded emulators to retail mode are getting outright console bans rather than 15-day suspensions. They say, please take my advice and do not try to begin to upload retail mode emulators. Microsoft are console banning people caught uploading retail mode emulators. Don't take the risk for yourself, and don't put others at risk either. It's not worth it anymore. Just use dev mode. Players can still install emulators to their console in developer mode, but access to this mode costs a one-off fee to activate, and players have to manually switch between developer and retail mode. While in developer mode, they can't play retail games or enjoy features like Quick Resume. Xbox boss Phil Spencer has expressed support for emulation in the past, as long as it's done through legal and authorized routes. In 2021, he told Axios that advocated software emulation as a solution to game preservation, which is what I was just speaking on. He said, and I quote, "My hope, and I think I have to present it that way as of now, is as an industry that we'd work on legal emulation that allowed modern hardware to run any within reason older executable, allowing someone to play any game." He added, "I think in the end, if we said, hey, anybody should be able to buy any game or own any game and continue to play, that seems like a great North Star for us as an industry." So again, we'll have to see what happens with this or whatever, but I just wanted to get this warning out there for everybody, because guess what? Listen, I don't want to see people lose access to their console. I don't want to see people lose access to, their games or their gamer score, what have you. It just seems like something that would be not a good thing, and like I said, worth warning everybody about, because Microsoft is cracking down on this stuff. So, we'll see what happens long term. But again, it just makes sense to just play the games that you have, the retail games and all that kind of stuff. Don't overdo things with stuff like this, emulators and things like that. I especially would think on your console, it's definitely not the smartest idea in the world to do, and I hope that we continue to see some movement on this. I am for game preservation, but I, much like Phil, think that it's something that needs to be done. Like, if these companies would put out collections that we could buy, I think that would be a great thing. And then there's also, obviously, they can allow people to use these things. So, again, hopefully, anyway, it gets all sorted out. But, I don't want to see anybody get banned or have their stuff taken away. I will link this. Please check it out. Uninstall the stuff if you have it or whatever in retail mode. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Crap Gamer, and this is Crap Gamer Reviews. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.